Welcome in, everybody, to the Exteriors and the Ozarks podcast.
Welcome.
Baby. Today we got the brothers on, brothers two, Mckenzie and Perry Turnbull, CEO and branch manager of Ozark Exteriors. How we doing, fellas?
Doing great. Yeah, excited to get started.
Heck yeah. Happy Monday in the South here in Arkansas.
A little warm
Is
today.
Yeah, it is. After
Yeah.
we had freezing temperatures last week, and then it's going to be 84 down here today.
73 right now.
Nice. I love that. I'm going to go golfing. So, what for you guys, coming into the roofing industry, it's kind of what we're going after here. That's our target audience, is we just kind of want to explain and educate our customers, right? And we want this podcast to kind of emulate who we are and what we are trying to do for our customers. So just another avenue that we can kind of teach our people what we do, how we do it, why we're better than everybody else that is doing, the same thing. A lot of roofers, a lot of shinglers out there. We aim to be the best roofers out there. That being said, what got you guys into roofing? When did you guys start roofing? And kind of what's that journey been like for you guys?
Mac, you want to take a jump?
Yeah, I guess
start
been in roofing probably for like 3 or 4 years. Kind of just happenstance brought us all together at the end of the day, but yeah, 3 years ago started Ozark Exteriors, and now 3 years later, just kind of been learning and growing from all different little small victories and the small failures, and trying to make the best out of everything. So, yeah.
Heck yeah. And you guys started it together?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, started together. Started with us two and our dad as well.
Nice. Now it's you two, and you guys have kind of grown from that, branched off.
Yep, kind of paved our own way.
Nice.
Had family in the Northeast that are in the roofing and construction business. And so I came most immediately from the pipeline business and got into roofing. Knew several guys that were in the pipeline business that had got into roofing themselves and already had that connection with family, and so it was something that I wanted to learn more about, and got into the sales side of it first before anything, and then decided that we had all the pieces that we needed to kind of get started, and we didn't have all the answers, but we learned them as we went. But it's been good. It's been fun.
Yeah. So it's been a 3-year journey. You guys started in 2020, which arguably the toughest time to start a business for anybody, anywhere. Right. What was that like for you guys starting in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah, I think 2020 was an interesting time. It was perfect in alignment with like all of our 3 lives, but because we were kind of coming off projects that we had already been on, doing things, other business ventures. But in 2020, when you start a company that's based off of door knocking for sales, it actually worked out pretty well, at least where we're from in Arkansas. I don't know if it'd work as well in other places of the country and other parts of the world, but in Arkansas, it worked really well. We were door knocking, and we had absolutely no resistance to that, interestingly enough. And as a result of everyone being home because they're quarantined, every door answered. After and they had a massive storm in May of that year that impacted the entire region. I mean, a huge area, a lot of homes, every home that you can think of was hit by a really large hailstorm. And so that, combined with everybody being home and little resistance to concern about, masking and such, we had a tremendous amount of success in getting started. So it was actually kind of perfect.
A perfect storm for starting a roofing company.
Exactly right. Crazy of all things. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. So now that storm, was that just up in Northwest Arkansas, or was that all over?
So it hit everything from basically Joplin and Springfield, Missouri, down to Fort Smith, Arkansas. And so really, like Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and Fayetteville were in the middle of it, but it reached as far south as Fort Smith and as far north as Joplin and Springfield.
How much work do you think that you guys got off of that one storm you're starting up? And then how long did that storm carry you guys?
We were selling roofs and replacing roofs for 2 years from the date of that storm.
Dang.
So it was quite literally the perfect way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect foundation and building blocks for starting
That's
up a
right.
roofing company.
Yeah.
Heck
That's
yeah.
right.
If you guys never got into roofing, where would you guys think that you would be currently?
I would have still been in the pipeline business more than likely. Transportation of natural gas liquids and petroleum liquids. That was my kind of career before that. And so had the May storm not happened, it probably wouldn't have been as motivated to start a roofing company because it would have been a little more difficult. So that's probably where I would have stayed there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mac, what about you?
I don't know where I would have been without it. It's a good question. I probably would have made my way finally to working for Walmart. So Northwest Arkansas is the home of Walmart. I probably would have ended up working for Walmart at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of job opportunity from Walmart up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 90% of either you work for Walmart, you work for somebody that sells in a Walmart, or you educate the kids of the people who work for Walmart. Like, being a roofer in Northwest Arkansas is kind of like an odd job because you're just not something, 90% of people here work for the big man, which would be Walmart for us.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that there's like a lack of people in the trades up there because of that?
I'd say I don't know. I think in Bentonville and Rogers, the opportunity to go to Walmart is so readily available that it's easy to kind of just fall into that. Even if you don't have much skills, or if you do have skills, it's an easy way, like Mckenzie said, it's an easy way to fall into a really good opportunity at Walmart and a career. I mean, it's a great company. It offers a ton to anybody that wants to try it, whether they're, the top of the class or not. It doesn't matter. It's a great place to start your career or restart your career the third or fourth or fifth time, right? So there's no knock on Walmart. I think it's a great opportunity for everybody. But that does have an impact on skilled labor in the area when it comes to like trades. Because Walmart pays really well. It's hard to compete with that.
We even have up here in Bentonville. There's a little children Walmart training center called the Museum, which really it's a children's playground, but it's every job in Walmart that is earthly there. The kids can play as if they're those roles in a very simple environment, but it's actually a really cool place.
True.
But
just conditioning them from a young age.
Yeah.
Dude, I was literally
in all reality,
yeah. I was just gonna ask of do you think that there is some of that conditioning, just because that's a lot of what there is up there. So then it's kind of especially where we're at in society, at least in the last 10 to 20 years of okay, you got to go get a 4-year degree, right? Got to go. And then where do you come back to? You said it's a pretty easy if you have skills or not, you go get your 4-year degree, don't know what you're going to do, come back home. Walmart is ka-ching.
Yeah, I have a friend that actually came from the Northeast and did. He's very skilled in copper fabrication and roofing. He's also very skilled in slate roofing, and does shingles, of course. But we try to get him to come to Ozark, but Walmart's too good. I can't compete with Walmart money.
Yeah, that's different kind of money.
For sure.
What's your guys' vision for the next few years for Ozark Exteriors? We started up in 2020 off of the storm. We've been progressing ever since, building the team. Where do you guys see that going here in the next year to a few years out?
I think we're transforming ourselves right now into a company far more in control of our end result. So at the end of every roof, for example, we're going to be far more in control of how that product turns out. And so this year has really been about experimenting with those processes and establishing some standards and some practices that you might find elsewhere in the country that are mandatory, but are not mandatory here. And so Nathan, for example, you're coming from in Northwest, where, you know, at every phase of the build on a roof, you have to stop and wait for the city or municipal inspector to show up to look to ensure that it was done correctly. So that's just one example of something that is required, like in the Northeast, the Northwest, and other places around the country, but is not required here. So a roofing company, a roofing crew can knock out a roof without anyone ever seeing it, from an oversight standpoint. So that's obviously not probably a great thing for customers. And so it's also not a great way to run your business if you're just kind of hoping that it's all going to turn out well and your crew is going to do everything that they should, that you've taught them and that they've committed to. So on occasion, you might be surprised that something got skipped or missed, and it may not be intentional. It might have been accidental, or in the heat of a moment, literally, if it's hot, you miss something. So one of the processes that we're adding to our business is instituting what would be mandatory elsewhere into an internal audit, if you will, of every stage of the roof. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's something that we're going to institute here at Ozark, starting immediately. And that's, we have a quality control guy that would be inspecting the roof from our company at every phase of the build. So the crew's going to stop at each phase. We inspect, we document, look at everything, ensure that flashing's been installed or removed and then installed correctly, underlayment, decking boards, the whole thing. And so at the end of the day, the customer will have, and Ozark will have a very reliable product for their
Top
home.
quality product.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Right.
the ability to see that all the way through. That's something I'm excited for us too.
Yeah.
Coming from up there, I think that was probably the biggest aha thing in our very initial,
Yep.
talking about coming down here. And you guys were like, no, man, it's like the Wild Wild West a little bit comparatively.
That's right. That's right.
Which
Yeah.
we've talked about. Down here a little bit behind in the roofing and just really in general. See that with market prices in homes, property prices, stuff like that. But roofing and the bureaucracy that that kind of is in the inspection process up there, you're waiting on different entities, not your own self, you're not your own checks and balances. And so you're waiting on some guy that at the end of the day, he's getting a salary no matter what from the city or state or whoever it may be. And he doesn't really care about, the end all. He doesn't care about your customer. He cares about this one process, that one process. No, X, Y, or Z. It's that one process. So it's going to be awesome to bring in a customer focused QC program.
Right.
Making sure that they have the best roofing system possible.
That's right.
And being able to, provide the warranties along with that and make sure that they're in the know across the board. It's going to be exciting. Starting to offer what other people are not offering down here. And I think we're just ahead of the time. You know what I mean? We're just being proactive as opposed to reactive. And we've talked about it before of, you react to something, especially when, the state gets involved, comes in with mandates because something messes up, right? Somebody gets sued, someone finds fault somewhere in a roofing process. And they say, hey, we need to implement a checks and balances system right here. And so people then have to react to that on the back end, right? And we're already going to be able to say, hey, you know what they just, implemented? Well, we've been doing that for X amount of time, and I'm sure it really probably is pretty quickly coming, but I'm excited for us to get that implemented and, be able to offer that to our customers.
Yeah, has a significant impact on your schedule, right?
Yeah.
Your build schedule and the speed in which you can complete a job. So us getting accustomed to that kind of slow down, and in planning will help us in the long run, like you're saying, be ready for when that does become required.
Yeah. And then help with like taking that little time at the forefront of a project is going to help us on that back end of that project, not having to go back, not having the customer say, hey, I think we missed XYZ. Hey, I see this. It's going to help us in our overall efficiency. I think we'll see that play out huge
That's
for
right.
us. Mac, what about you? Next year to 5 years. What are you thinking? What are you seeing? Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams. I to echo that is just improving the process, providing something that we can sleep good at night, be proud of, but also sleep really good at night, that you never have to worry about anything. You've done everything possible to make sure that's on there. So not I think people wonder whether or not contractors care, and and I think a lot of them do. Is just not wanting to get a call back, though, is what most people worry about. But I think knowing we're not going to get a call back because we did it right is the feeling we're shooting for, but also is building our storm chasing team, and also building our branches where we can actually be someone that people want to call and reach out to in the areas that we're actually serving as a branch, especially here at home, but also all throughout Arkansas, especially. And I think that's something that's really doable in the next year or two, next few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Being able to control the controllables, right? We can't control the homeowner's layout of the roof, the weather that comes afterwards, but we can control our processes and the products that we provide and the effort that we put into that. So,
Right.
Yeah, I'm hyped. So something that, is in the roofing industry, especially for us starting off of a storm, is insurance and insurance processes. And then being a roofing contractor, going to battle sometimes with an insurance company, and then going to bat for our customers. How does Ozark help customers kind of navigate that experience through the insurance process? How do we handle that on our side?
Go ahead, Mac. I'm getting a bad connection here.
Oh, you're good. I think it's interesting. I think one of the biggest stances we take is, especially in this process, helping a customer understand is it feels like a battle, and it's because in the industry it's been a battle before they even put standards into this, and then with the standards it's created a battle even more so. And is in some cases we have some situations where the insurance should pay for a roof, but a lot of times is learning that we live in the same environment as the homeowners, as the insurance, and ourselves. We coexist in the same habitat where, at the end of the day, like, it only works if we all work together. As long as we're all in the same pursuit of what's the actual right thing to do, I think is where, when we're dealing with the insurance, it actually makes sense. I think it's the same thing. Like, at night if you're worried about if your roofs are leaking, then maybe you should worry more about how you're approaching the situations, approaching the roofs. Same thing. I'm like worried if the insurance can be mad at us, if they're going to cancel us or whatever, or if we're going to look dumb in front of the customer. Well, maybe we should change our process and how we actually deal with everything, and maybe we should be more team players instead of actual fighters. And I think that's the problem. We've been doing that since nearly the beginning, if not the entire time we've been doing this. Is we take the approach of being, we're team players together, and we're going to push back when we need to push back, because sometimes it's not right, but most of the time it's just everyone's just trying to get the job done, and we got to provide what's the actual evidence. And then when the insurance pays for it, they pay for it like they're supposed to. But usually we just do what our customers ask us to do, though. So if they're interested in us helping them get roofs, we'll help them get the roof and provide what we can. I don't know, Perry, you have anything else on that?
Yeah, repeat the question, because you cut off when I couldn't hear it. My internet connection was bad when you were asking the question.
So it's just, with roofing and especially starting up off of a storm, that insurance processes go hand in hand, right? And so helping the customer kind of navigate those processes, and how do we kind of handle those processes on our side, being the roofing contractor and really being the expert, in the roof and handling insurance and kind of that battle there.
Right. Yeah, I'd say that every insurance company is going to assess a roof differently. And then within that insurance company, you're going to have adjusters that assess the roof uniquely in their own way. And there are times where the insurance adjuster may not be having the best interest of the customer in mind, right? And they may be more worried about their schedule or whatever it might be, things that they're trying to get done and get out of town, because a lot of these times the adjusters aren't actually from the local area, and even if they are, they have life struggles and like normal people, and they're not robots. So we take the role of just ensuring that the customer, when the adjustment happens, is done so in a way that is honest, and we can do that without being confrontational. We can do that being very nice and polite, but also being just an extra set of eyes there to represent the customer, not only on the ground, but potentially needed if on the roof, to give a really honest assessment of what's going on up there. Because being in the business long enough, you see that insurance companies will pay for roofs that maybe are borderline damaged, and then on occasion, more often than not, maybe then we have insurance companies decline paying for roofs that are abundantly damaged, severely damaged, and without a roofer that kind of has the understanding for how to navigate the insurance companies and their processes, and they're asking the right questions and probing when it's right, a customer is going to be left with a roof that is not going to perform its function as a result of storm damage. So that's where we stand up, and we're going to help the customer be represented in front of the insurance company and ensure that the roof is replaced when it absolutely really is needed.
Yeah. Something cool that we do. It's I think different than
Mhm.
everybody. And Colin sent me something this weekend of this gal kind of explained, her pitch, right? And it really a pitch is almost too salesy, I feel like, for what we really do. It's an offering of, can we assist you? This is an offering of assistance, right? And I'm trying to look it up of what exactly it was, Colin, that she was like, I don't. Do you remember what it was? I don't replace roofs that don't need replaced, or
Yeah. Yeah. So it was I've got it right here. So this is Becca Switzer with Roofing Sales Mastery. And so she just kind of outlined what the pitch is, and she says, I'm really sorry to bother you. I'm sure you've been harassed by a dozen roofing salesmen since the storm. I actually specifically do work for insurance claim related damages, so I'm not one of those guys that goes around trying to sell people roofs they don't necessarily need. And it's a super simple phrase, which is why I sent it over. Just a super simple phrase that really puts the customer at ease. I feel like a lot, I've sold enough products that I feel like everybody feels like when someone knocks on the door to try and sell them something, it's going to be a pushy salesman. But it doesn't have to be, specifically when it comes to your roof, right? We know, especially in Arkansas and then in a lot of other states as well, we're going to get more storms throughout the year. And so it's going to give us that opportunity to just try again, right? Doesn't have to be right now. And so I feel like, between kind of listening to Perry's pitch, listening to Mckenzie's pitch, and it's kind of what our full service is as a company, is we really kind of sell the patience to the homeowner, which as you both were kind of talking about what the processes are, like how patient we can be, that it doesn't have to be right now, but we're going to be patient throughout the process, that we do the process right, is also one of the bigger keys that we have with dealing with the insurance company. So it's not fighting with them now, but it's fighting with them at some point in time in the future when that damage is just undeniable, right? So if we can't get it done now, we're gonna be patient enough as your roofing contractor to just give you the option to try again with us if you elect to do so.
right, being there for them regardless. Right now, 2 years, 2 months, next storm, when you have the money, whatever it is, like, hey, we're here for you throughout, no matter if
Right.
it's maybe the most optimal time right now or not,
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I think that underscores a really important, difference in how we approach it when meeting with a customer. And that is, like, if the roof is damaged, there's no need to convince anybody of anything. There really is no need. If the pictures will be the evidence enough, right? I mean, there's a description, there's a way to evaluate hail damage to a roof. And if the pictures match that evaluation, then it is what it is. There's, and that's what we tell our guys a lot is this is really, when we're going door to door or if we're meeting with the customer, it's not a sales role, really. It's you're teaching customers about what's going on top of their house. And that's the most important thing that I communicate to anybody that joins Ozark is we're really, we do, I guess, quote unquote sell, but I look at it more as the role of a teacher. And so, most folks don't know what they're getting into when there is a storm that attacks their home. And so we're there to kind of teach them and walk through the process. And there's a lot of steps when it comes to insurance, and storm damage restoration. That can easily be, a lot of steps that could be missed and opportunities missed to help people.
Yeah.
If you're not a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. And people go for it.
I was gonna say that'll be like another great episode to get into. Is just to kind of have you explain, because you've taught me, right? You've taught Mckenzie. Well, you and Mckenzie learned together. You've taught me. We've taught Nathan. Like, I think that you would probably educate a lot of people on how to do that properly and well and successfully. So,
yeah,
that needs to be another episode that we'll do.
Yeah. I mean, you said, Colin, about being patient, right? So, like, being a teacher, you can't teach anybody. You can't be in a hurry to teach somebody, right?
Right.
If you want to be a good teacher, you have to be patient. And if they don't understand what you're trying to teach them, you have to keep trying. You got to try a different approach. But if you get in a hurry, you're trying to get to the finish line before they're ready, then there's really no point.
Right.
What's so funny?
Many moments of patience.
Yes.
Experience these many moments of patience.
That's right.
What's been the best lesson, Mckenzie, that you've learned in this last year on patience when it comes to the business?
Oh, man.
Or is there like an overall theme that you can think of?
I think there is I think the running theme that goes in my mind right now is that there is triumph in every failure. And you have the patience to stick it out, but not just stick it out, but the patience to stick it out and then improve and reflect and then continue moving forward, then that's where the triumph comes from. But you'll never notice that in the failure if you don't keep moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That Jocko, good. You failed, good. You didn't get the job.
Yeah, the job
good.
good.
You didn't, what have you, good. I think that's from processes standpoint, super crucial. But from a people standpoint, like the patience thing, it's figuring out how to communicate with them as well, right? Like, not everybody communicates the same way. Not everybody receives communication the same way. And especially when you're trying to educate people, and like, depends on who you have sitting across the table from you, but you're trying to educate someone, you can tell if they're like, oh no, I know, or if they're actively engaged. And takes a great patience is definitely a virtue. Takes a great deal of it to educate all the homeowners. And then, like, there's a statistic that I'm going to butcher now, but I think it was 50 or 60% of people don't know what kind of shingle they have on their roof, brand, even down to color. I think it was like 90% of people 1 year after their roof is put on don't remember the company that put their shingles on for them.
Right.
People, like, even my wife, we were driving around last night and I was explaining to her kind of this like newer shingle with metal accents on it. I don't know if you guys have seen, I really love those kind of roofs with like shingle and then metals on like the dormer, or not even the dormers, but like just kind of some cool, throwing a black roof and then like some black metal or even some like copper metal, somewhere in there, and kind of matching up the gutters to it. But I was explaining that to her, and we like saw 2 houses for the first time on our way to our church group the other night. And I was like, oh, there, and she totally missed them. She just doesn't, the average person isn't looking at roofs, like
Right.
inspecting roofs. See, nobody cares. It's
That's right.
not,
Yeah.
you don't care
Yeah, we
until
can
it's,
assume that everyone understands what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
more than not, they don't have a clue. You
no.
know?
No.
And that's understandable.
So, yeah, kind of to that. What do you guys think? We've been through it a little bit, but what do you guys think sets Ozark Exteriors apart from everybody else? If you had to boil it down to one thing.
I love the fact that this change that we're making now is what's going to set us apart. I think that's exciting for me. I think that's something that's radically different in Arkansas. And I would say that's true for Texas, where we operate. I think that's true for Missouri as well, and Oklahoma. This region that we serve, having that aspect to our business processes will be radically different than our competitors, radically different for our customers to get it roofed by Ozark Exteriors. So I'm excited. I'm really proud to be able to offer that. I can't wait for that to kind of expand and grow with our name, because I think it's going to catch on. I think it's going to become an industry standard before it becomes required. As we grow, I think we're going to set the bar.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to be a trendsetter in
Yep.
like an entire state's industry. Really,
Right.
that's the goal, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
cool
if
to
you were
leave
to
an
approach a subcontractor for roofing, or hire employees that have done roofing before into your company that are from this area, and you bring up this, we're gonna stop you at each phase of the roof. We're gonna take a look at the roof. They're gonna look at you like you're from a different planet. Then they all
Right.
do, and so it's gonna be a huge process, not just for the roofing companies themselves, but the laborers that actually work and that are out there. Is going to be adjustment for them too. And it may be the toughest adjustment for them, because they're used to just being able to get up there and be on their own and not have someone looking over their shoulder. And that's how they're probably going to look at it at first, until they kind of understand, look, we're all in this together.
Yeah. For them understanding the why of what's
Mhm.
happening, and us being able to communicate that from the top down, I think is going to
Right.
be huge, because
Right.
they're the guys putting on the roofs at the end of the day, right? They're
That's right.
the guys that are getting you where you want to be. It's
Mhm.
getting them on the same page as us and being able to see that
Yeah.
vision. Yeah, very cool. With the roofing industry, with technology, with the world going kind of on this trajectory towards AI, do you guys see AI making a difference in the roofing industry going forward?
Matt, Colin.
I'm gonna let you guys answer.
I mean, I think we've talking about in the past. It's a yes and a no. I think by human design, people won't let it happen, where it probably would provide a huge assist and potentially lower costs for roofing while they're consistently rising and rising. But I think sales wise, yes. I think on the manufacturing side, maybe in their plants, but when it comes to actually delivering the shingles to homes and the process in which companies deal with the manufacturers and the suppliers, I think that will be the last thing that ever goes. They have control right now, and they have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And right now they're showing their control by how ridiculous they are with the prices and how little they care about anyone or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, if AI takes over, my job's the first one to go. Right. Like, AI can sell way better than it can make a shingle, or deliver a shingle. Right. And so I have to do you know, Nathan and I, we have to do our hardest to try and keep up with that and make sure that it doesn't overtake us, because I really like what I do and I don't want to lose it out. So, but I mean, it's the same way for a lot of people, you know. Everyone's a little bit worried, like, can AI take my job? Ours definitely is one, but I feel like how we engage with our customers, it's something that we'll be able to retain on that personal aspect. It'll be hard to train a robot to knock on a door, but definitely when it comes to your online marketing, but then doing the inspection, right? That's obviously where you need something physical that's there, that we can show that homeowner. And so I do worry about it sometimes, but I think it'll probably be a while before anybody could develop anything that expensive to do a roof inspection without having to have somebody there.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
I did an experiment actually last week. Took a picture of a hail damaged shingle and loaded it into Chat GPT and asked it to describe what it was, and it gave me I tried to find it on my phone just now. I can't find the way it described it, but it was a very eloquent description of hail damage to a roof. But at the end of it, it said, like it would for a medical question, right? It's going to say, this looks like it's a broken bone, but you need to seek a medical professional for, you know, a proper opinion, right? So similar to that's what it did with the roof. Like this appears to be what it is, but you need to find a, you know, a competent, you know, roofing professional to really to know what's going on. So the reason I bring that up, it's interesting because you have, you know, ties into my point earlier. You have humans on the roof from, let's say, the insurance companies or the roofing companies, and they're evaluating a roof based off of their experience, based off of what they've learned from others or what they've read, or, you know, who's, you know, paying at the end of the day, their salary, right? So they're looking at this roof and they're making an assessment. And you can definitely make an argument for a hail hit not being a hail hit, and you can make an argument for something that's not a hail hit to be a hail hit to a roof. And what that means is basically, is the roof really damaged or is it not? And so it's believe it or not, it's very subjective. It's not as black and white as anybody could say, right? I mean, there's going to be an argument out there. It's a pretty hot take, but plenty of people are going to argue that it is black and white, that it is easy to determine whether a roof is damaged or not based off of the strict definition that's out there. But the reality of the situation is, every adjustment that I've ever been on or been a part of with an adjuster, the definition of storm damage or hail damage or wind damage to a roof is a little different. It's always a little different. It's never consistent. So I wonder with AI if that changes. I mean, if it can in 2023 identify a hail damage shingle from just a picture, what will it be able to do in 5 years? What will AI be able to do in 5 years? So I don't know. I kind of think about, you know, drones or something that's on occasion used by adjusters and roofers to look at a roof. And I don't know, I wonder if down the road, 5 years from now, if not earlier, a drone can take a sweeping view of a roof and evaluate it within just seconds and provide a very black and white, yes, this roof is damaged beyond repair, it needs to be replaced, or it's not. And I wonder if that AI aspect of the world changes the way the insurance companies are able to inspect roofs after storm damage, or whether roofing companies are, you know, it takes out that human element, which is going to be interesting. I think there's definitely going to be some benefits and some negatives that come from that. I wonder, you know, I just don't know. It's kind of I think with AI or everything that we're looking to replace ourselves with a computer, it's kind of a scary road to travel, but we're going down that road whether we like it or not.
Right. And with insurance companies taking, like we've talked about before, State Farm last year taking an $8.5 billion loss, they're going to be looking for every avenue that they can to almost eliminate that human element and make it black or white, you know, as black or white as you can. So that way, in their minds, they can accurately rate, accurately assess, accurately underwrite, right?
Right. So like
So,
I've been on a roof for like for an hour and a half with an adjuster, and we're nose to shingle, looking at, inspecting at the depth of the impact crater that the hail made to the shingle, and making a human assessment. Well, is that deep enough to warrant an actual damaged shingle, or is it just marred? And so like it's an exhausting conversation, because from one guy to the next it's a different evaluation. And so if you could take you look at a picture or anything that's just 2D, you're looking at it. But if you can take a drone shot or a photo of something and get a 3D assessment of how deep the crater is to that shingle, and AI can assess that, I mean, I think it's gonna be a great thing for customers who would have been turned down by an adjuster. With the AI is going to say, yeah, that roof is without question, it's damaged. Like, that eliminates that kind of scenario. And it's great for a customer also, in the sense that a roofer might be selling a roof that doesn't need to be replaced. Maybe they're pulling the wool over the customer's eyes, but the AI system and the drone footage or whatever it might be, the photos are going to be the proof in the pudding. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a far and above positive for customers. It's gonna impact a lot the dishonest roofers, and the human element of mistakes made when you're on a roof and assessing a roof.
yeah. And I think it'll come down to, like, maybe some jobs will be taken from AI, but I really think that it's going to create this kind of gap between in the roofing industry and every industry almost. There's going to be the people that are working with AI and know how to optimize AI and know how to, get the most out of AI. And then there's going to be the people that are not, right?
Right.
And I think as AI starts to grow, it's going to, like, if not one single roofer ever implemented AI into their systems, then it wouldn't come into the roofing industry ever. But there's going to be somebody out there, right? We start using it in our day-to-day lives, and there's going to be
Right.
somebody that is having these ideas and wants to try implementing it. And then
Yep.
that's when it starts to catch. So really, at the end of the day, it's like the human element,
That's right.
behind it. But it's just, how well can you do with AI? And that'll start to set you apart from everybody that's not.
Can you imagine that you got Walmart sending drones to deliver toothbrushes? So it's traveling a great distance of it's traveling over folks' homes from its point of origin, to however far it can travel. Why wouldn't an insurance company be able to do the same thing? Send a drone rather than a person to someone's home, fly over however many homes, a mile or whatever it is, spend 30 seconds over the top of that roof, and then fly back, and you're done. Your roof assessment is done.
Do we have laws in Arkansas for drones and like airspace and stuff like that? You can and can't fly.
Federally, the federal rules really overrule anything, right? So you have federal air flight rules. So yeah, you'd have, like, I think for a roofing company, it's going to be more, I don't know, financially difficult to accomplish, at least under current circumstances. Insurance company, I think it probably would make a lot of sense. You could probably save a lot of money on overhead by using drones as opposed to labor. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it kind of seems like that might be the case.
So we had,
I feel like you'd get a lot more repairability claims. Set up a
poll, say again.
Yeah.
I feel like you get a lot more repairability claims after that. Just how does the drone determine if like the drone had to be able to determine if the roof is repairable?
Right.
I would imagine that would be the first place all the roofers go to, is like, well, how does that determine repairability? You have to have someone come out here and look at the repairability.
All right. Yeah.
I've had good success with adjusters and drones, so I'm,
probably it might be better.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said it before, and just with the DJI Mavic Pros, like they've been able to determine well enough that there's sufficient hail damage on the roof. They've walked their ladder around first just to kind of take you know, their shingle measurements and, you know, the using the little tile slide for the years and stuff like that. So they've put eyes to the roof, but ultimately when it comes down to it, like they're flying that drone. We've had good success with it. And so I think it's actually super cool to watch. We had one adjuster, he would have preferred to have flown his drone. And he says that he could hit way more adjustments during the day, which increases his profitability for the company by flying his drone rather than having to scope the whole thing out. I've had other ones where like they'll walk it. She said that she would walk it if she could, but because the pitch was a little bit over what her qualifications were, her specifications were for the job, she elected to fly her drone. They're a little bit more like hesitant to maybe lean you one way or the other or give you a little bit more of a concrete answer. But as long as they're doing their job, I really don't care how they get it done. That's,
Right.
I mean, that's my opinion, right? But they're all licensed. They all have their pilot's license, like they're to fly the drones. So they have to pass a test with the FAA to be able to commercially fly their drone for their job.
That's cool. Probably cuts down on workers' comp claims too, keeping people off of roofs.
Probably.
Good.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting times ahead of us. You say, you know, AI in the next 5 years. I mean, let alone the next 5 months, the way we're
it's
going
crazy.
and the way information,
Yeah.
you know, is what people are coming out with on a day-to-day basis, especially with AI. It's gonna
Probably
be
gonna have
crazy.
Arnold building roofs in 5 years.
What'd you say?
Probably have Arnold building roofs in 5 years.
One can only hope. All right. What so kind of all that being said, that's kind of Ozark Exteriors in a whole. Really, there's probably a ton that we didn't touch on, but if you had to wrap it up with one tidbit, one, hey, you know, you're trying to make it, one advice, biggest takeaway for you over the last like 3 years, what would it be?
Mac, what do you got? I'm trying to think of a good one.
One takeaway.
I'd say for me is I mean you can't, if you're starting a business, you can't be afraid to make mistakes. You kind of there is some aspect of like jumping in and not knowing where the bottom is, and not knowing, you know, all the details, but also being quick to learn and quick to adapt and quick to change when you do find those things that you need to, that you weren't aware of. So adaptability is huge in business, and you have to be willing to kind of test the waters, not to the detriment where it costs you your business, but you know, smart risks, and then quick to make adjustments.
Being okay to take risks, being okay to fail.
Yeah.
And as Mac was saying earlier, those
Mhm.
wins that come through failure.
Yep. Yep.
Mckenzie?
I think I sent this. I think a thing I listened to last week, like it's like 5 minutes long or something like that. I think sums up the last 3 years, but in a way I never thought of. But it's from Jocko Willink, and he talks about it's good operating weather. It's good operating weather, and when he's talking about in the teams when he's in the Navy SEALs, as he calls them the teams. They talked about good operating weather, but they weren't talking about sunshine where you can have flip flops, you know, put your shorts on. Weather's great outside. He was talking about it was good operating weather when it was light levels were low, or there were no light levels, right? Or it was foggy, or it was rainy. Anything that put the rest of the competition off was always better operating weather for them. But also in that same talk, he was like, everyone else is dealing with the same crap we are. You just got to you just got to prepare yourself to be better than everyone else. He's like, we were prepared for that, and they weren't. But even if we were, like, we'd still probably come out ahead. He's like, you just got to remember that if you're dealing with something, so is everyone else. And you're not unique into the environment you're put into. Like, everyone else is dealing with the same crap. So just go get after it, and you know, and train and be prepared to take care of it. And I think I don't know. I think that sums up all the time. Is just it's the same thing. It's like the failures are there, just keep going forward. It's always good operating weather, even when it's bad.
That echoes that adaptability, you know, in changing circumstances and whatnot, and being able to adapt and say, okay, you know, we got a new grounds here. Let's keep going. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If AI came in tomorrow, I mean, just got to adapt.
Okay. We got to figure it out.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I dig it, fellas. Well, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for the
Good time.
podcast. I
Yeah,
got
thank you.
2 last wrap-up questions. I think we still got time.
Let's just do one.
All right.
Let's hit one.
We're going to do one.
One last wrap up.
One last wrap-up question.
Let's just do the first one you got on there.
Well, can we choose which one we can talk about?
Sure.
Oh,
Let's go.
all right. Of the 2 questions, first question, are aliens real? Second question, if you could have a cup of coffee with someone living or dead, who would it be? Pick your question, fellas, and take it away.
I want both.
What? So you would have a cup of coffee with the aliens if the aliens were real? Is that kind of what you said?
Hey, that's a really
Absolutely.
good answer, actually.
So
All right,
call
2 for
Elon
1.
Musk up.
Huh?
Call Elon Musk up. We'll achieve both in the same sitting.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll eat some anchovies on pizza, and we'll talk about just kind of what his mothership is saying, right?
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
That's
hilarious.
Barry?
I'd say there's a good chance if there are aliens, they're puddle jumpers. That's my big belief right now. They live in the oceans. That's how they hide themselves from us, intergalactically, if you will. Different planets. They're just hiding under the water at all these planets that have water. That's why you can't see them with the telescopes. You know, they're hiding somewhere in our oceans. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's where they're hiding. You can't.
A lot
Why
of
they-
undiscovered land space out there in the ocean we haven't gotten to yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
A lot of places for aliens to be.
That's why they always
Yeah.
crash on land, is because they don't have landing gear, right?
Exactly, yeah. They're not supposed to be out of water for long periods of time.
like a fish out of water.
They probably leave
Flopping
the ocean
around,
when it's
crash.
raining, and then they travel so far that it stops raining wherever they are, and then
Mhm.
they, the rain is what keeps them going. It's kind of a.
Does it rain in outer space? How do you think they get?
I mean, that's a great question. Dang it, that put a hole in it. Dang it. I lost
That
it.
did.
We've talked
That
about
did.
this so many times, and it's annoying and appalling every time. I'm trying not to be bothered by it, but it bothers me every time. It's so
Look,
ridiculous.
We'll just have coffee with the aliens when we find them. When we find the
It's
Ozark
absurd.
Exteriors aliens in our colony, we'll just have coffee with them, and we'll ask them, are you puddle jumpers? Are you not puddle jumpers? Are you the same as the mermaids? Is the megalodon real? We'll ask them all of these things all at the same time over a cup of coffee.
Bigfoot, chupacabra.
I did hear a
All the
new
above.
alien theory that I was like, I kind of liked. It was kind of exciting.
Oh, let's hear it.
Please tell.
That the aliens are really just artificial intelligence from a previous civilization on Earth, tens of thousands of years ago,
Mm.
and they're just like they're soulless artificial intelligence that are remnants of our ancestors.
Mm.
Did you really hear that one? Did you come up with that one on your own? That's insane.
He just
Just
came up
right
with
now.
that one right there on the
That one,
spot.
you could come up with some crazy stuff. I just don't understand.
That's good.
That's crazy.
Well,
You
good.
guys
Wow.
find aliens. We'll
Yeah.
have a cup of coffee with them.
That's right. So everybody can comment in the comments, are aliens real? And we'll do a little poll. We'll see if we can do a poll on YouTube as well as on Spotify, if people can elect to say yes, are aliens real or are they not? And if they are real,
Yeah.
would you have a cup of coffee with them?
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
Now you get into a whole new realm. Hostile aliens, non-hostile. Do you have a cup of coffee with them? Yes or no?
Ooh.
Crazy. Hey, and for
Do I have to have
everybody
that cup of coffee on the ship or not the ship?
in the puddle or out of the puddle? For everybody listening, all 2 of you, please hit the like and subscribe and comment and do everything that helps us with the algorithm. We're trying to get this sucker going so we can educate some more people and get
That's right.
homeowners up in the know on roofs and exteriors in the Ozarks. Hopefully to come, you guys are going to see, more interactions like this, and then also we're going to be bringing on more people that are doing stuff that we don't do, that are going to be educating you guys as well. So
That's right.
heck yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Thanks, fellas.
I'm excited. Thanks, y'all.
Nice.